Hey, what's up, everybody? So, I thought I would do a thunder astrology reading on Adolf Hitler's chart. And I don't want to repeat myself too much, so I'm not going to get into too much detail about his chart. But one thing I want to bring up is when I was making this chart, what I forgot to do was point out that Venus is retrograde in his chart. So, when retrograde planets are in our charts, it's really emphasizing showing some past life issues with the planet and the energies that it represents. And Venus is, of course, it's about love and relationships, and so that's really again being emphasized with the chart of Hitler. And retrograde planets really go inward. They take us really inward inside ourselves to really discover, what's going on. Why are we so needy or interested in relationships? What's going on? Why am I all into that? And it's in the house of relationships. It's in the seventh house, and that is when it's retrograde, it could really make a person, be very like skeptical about the relationships, about the communication they're having with somebody, personal relationships, business relationships. They're kind of wondering. They're thinking about it too much. And it could turn negative. And in his case, things really turn negative. He projected his self-hatred onto the world, you know onto Jewish people, all kinds of people. So yeah. Oh, another thing I wanted to emphasize or talk about was also for all of us if you have access to your Vedic astrology chart, when you want to check out how many planets are in one of the Kendra trines. The Kendra houses are the 1, 4, 7, and 10, and the trines are the Dharma trine is the 1, 5, 9. The Moksha trine is the 4, 8, 12. The Kama trine is the 7, 11, 3, and the Artha trine is the 10, 2, and 6. And I'm going to do a video on the Artha trine eventually for all the ascendants. But you want to check out how many planets are in which of those trines, because that can show like a focus that's going on in your life. And in his case, he's got most of his planets in the Kama trine. He's got them in the seventh house and the third house. He's got a total of 7 planets in the Kama trine. So that's really, Kama trines are emphasis on relationships, love, harmony in relationships, enjoying the physical pleasures of life, having fun, enjoying the physical life, and he wasn't enjoying his physical life. He was really, was distracting himself with all of the self hatred being projected onto the world. So yeah, we want to check that out too with our own charts if you have access to that too. And I also offer these thunder astrology readings or 12 house readings, thunder 9 world rune readings as well. So I could tell you these things too if you ask about it, and I'll let you know. But just go to greg.thunderwizard.com. And so I'm going to give an example of a thunder astrology reading for Hitler, which is going to go even more deeper into his chart, and so we could see what's going on. So the first thing you get is I tell you what your ascendant is, which is Libra. And Libra, he has all of these aspects going on in Libra. So this makes him very interested in relationships, very interested in being a politician or a lawyer. In his case, he was a politician. Um, what else? He's got a lot of leadership quality, powerful leadership quality, overpowering tendencies to be a leader, being very direct, being very martial, being very strict, and convicted, and really emphasizing his conviction to what he believes in as a leader, and overpowering people. There's that ability to do that, and to really project anger as well. And the harmony between people and himself is really hard to have with this chart because of this overpowering type of stuff. um, if you want to check out exactly what I'm talking about as far as the aspects and what they're doing and all that, check out the previous reading I did on the 12 house reading of Hitler, because I don't want to be repeating myself too much. But that's what his ascendant, his Libra ascendant, is showing, that he's a very powerful leader when he's dealing with other people, and he has a tendency to overpower people, but he has an ability to attract the kind of people he wants in his life to help him gain in life, and he has that just that high emphasis on being a powerful leader. So that's the ascendant. His moon sign is the Sagittarius, he's got his moon over here. You see it's conjunct with Jupiter and K2. So his moon is really showing this emotional connection to teaching ability, philosophy, spirituality. In his case, like more of that spirituality, but that diluted spirituality, as a result of the Rahu over here in the ninth house of spirituality. So the moon is very interested. His mind is very connected to wanting to teach spirituality, his own views of spirituality, his own philosophy of spirituality. It wants to be the first one to say it. It wants to be very worldly in his expansion towards talking about that to people. He's very optimistic about what he believes in. He can be very narrow-minded. He was narrow-minded in that life about what he believed in as far as philosophy and spirituality. At the same time, the K22 is bringing that dissatisfaction, is bringing anger, is bringing agitation into his mind. So this it's another challenging moon sign that's going on here. What else could I say about that? As far as these three conjunctions go, I would emphasize to him that this is a powerful moon sign as far as your intuitive ability, the ability to express that to the world, to use that for positivity, to uplift the world, to communicate true spirituality. No BS, no making up stuff. It's just real stuff, and really going deep into consciousness, going into other worlds, and bringing it back out into the world, and being able to intellectually talk about it, and really show the emotional connection that he has with what he really believes in. This is what his moon sign is really showing. Jupiter, in as far as when we read in Vedic astrology in the books, Jupiter is the one that it says in the books that it has the power to control Ketu and Rahu when it's conjunct with them or when it's aspecting them. In his case, he has Jupiter conjunct with Ketu and it's aspecting Rahu, but still it couldn't control him. That has to do with us following our joy and working on ourselves, working on our unconscious. He wasn't doing that. So it's not going to work if you're not making an effort to really grow, expand spiritually, bring your infinity into your physical life. So I would emphasize that power of positivity, intuitive power that he has within him as far as the moon goes. He really has that strongly in his moon sign. And his sun sign's over here, and it's exalted in the sign of Aries. It's in the house of relationships too. So it's really bringing that desire to really overpower other people, communicating with other people. It's exalted, so it's really happy being a leader, being orderly, overpowering people. So he's got to be careful about that too. He's very prideful in his ego. Excuse me, I just ate. He's very confident in his self-identity. He's very knowledgeable, confident. In who he is. His self-esteem is very high-powered and energized. He has a lot of vitality, especially with this aspect, with the conjunction of Mars right there as well. And so that would be his sun sign. Sun signs making him very optimistic through these Jupiter conjunctions. You got the K2, heavy, deep research into dealing with other people. There's a lot of things about that sun that's going on there. The intellect is being stimulated with spirituality, Mercury owning these other houses and all that. The Mars is there. And then next, I would tell him about what his Atmakaraka is. And the Atmakaraka is the planet that has the highest degrees in our charts. And it's the planet that is teaching us our main karmic lesson in this life. And his Atmakaraka in this life is the planet Venus. And, Venus, again, it's all about relationships, harmony and relationships, having that, that deep, passionate connection with people, being creative, being very interested in the physical pleasures of life. Like I was saying about the Kama trine, these planets are in the Kama trine, enjoying, some food and beautiful home, beautiful feeling clothing, and all that kind of stuff, And, Venus is kind of trying to point out too, don't get too caught up in the physical pleasures of life. And, it's all about the harmony with relationships, in which he didn't learn that lesson in that life. So, that's his Atmakaraka. And the next ones I'm going to talk about would be the Ishta Devatas. I mean, the Devatas themselves, the Ishta, Dharma, and Palana Devatas. So these are vibrating on our three selves, our higher, lower, and middle selves. And, if you don't know about those things, it's very important to understand that connection to our higher, lower, and middle selves. Um, like the higher self receives messages from the universe, from deities, from our higher self, sends it down to our lower self. Our lower self is the one that goes out and intends our reality, takes the action towards doing it. Our lower self sends the messages to our conscious self, our middle self right here. And then we become aware of what we got to do with our life, what we got to do to benefit ourselves. Or we ignore it, and we become really super negative. And you know what I mean? We don't get what we want, or we just turn negative and get the negative things that we want out of life. So these are the planets that are vibrating with those three selves of our being. So the first one is the Ishta Devata, the planet that is chosen to guide your spiritual liberation and direct your conscious mind. So this is the middle self. This represents our soul, where our soul is, the Ishta Devata. Ishta means chosen. It is the planet that has been with you in this life and in other lives as well. And that planet that's helping him with his conscious self is the planet Ketu. So, Ketu is really the exact opposite of our conscious self. It's really our deep, deep going into the other world. It's all about that isolation. And, it's the guru in isolation discovering the true reality of themselves, the infinity that lies within them. They're really going deep inside themselves and discovering who they really are. So that's the planet that's guiding his conscious self. So it's really important for this person to really be aware of true spirituality, true spiritual energy that's coming in and guiding his conscious self. Making him aware of the true laws of the spiritual universe. It's the Ketu's with his moon right here. It's in the house of communication, the sign of Sagittarius, teaching spirituality and all that. It's just really emphasizing that. And Ketu's a planet of karma as well, so it's showing issues that he had in previous lives. It shows that he's mastered this house of communication as well. So it's showing issues with communicating with people before in other lives. He probably had an ability, whether positive or negative, or both positive and negative in other lives, communicating, and communicating spirituality, because we got these three conjunctions, as I was saying before. They're really empowering the intuitive ability of this person. I don't know if he had any of those kind of abilities in the life that he lived on this world, and the one he lived, but that's really the advantage of this conjunction in this house right here for him. And I would just emphasize what Ketu is really trying to help you to keep in harmony with your higher self, bringing it into your conscious self. The next Devata would be the Dharma Devata, and this represents our unconscious and the lower self, the navel area. So this is really the one that's really the engine under the car that's getting us to where we want to go. We can be in the driver's seat, the Ishta Devata, pressing the gas, trying to get somewhere. But if there's no gas in the engine, or the engine's not running properly, you're not going to get nowhere wherever you want to go. So the Dharma Devata is really the engine that really drives us. It's the deep inside our consciousness. It represents our unconscious mind, our fears, our self-sabotaging, our doubts, all of the dysfunctional upbringing that we had from family, from society, how we take that in, and deal with it. If we bury it inside of ourselves, the Dharma Devata helps us to open up and look inside and work through it, work through our feelings, acknowledge our feelings, all of our feelings, positive, negative, everything. His Dharma Devata is the moon. So, the moon is all about nurturing other people. It's our emotions. It's connecting us to feeling. It's really connecting us to looking at the world as everybody's family. It's the nurturing nature of the goddess energy within us all, and it represents his unconscious mind. This is a person that has a very masculine energy within his chart, especially with these planets looking at his first house, aspecting his first house. It's a super masculine type of a chart, So this is a good Dharma Devata to help balance this person. And the moon. The moon is, like I was saying, it's all about nurturing yourself, looking inside, and really loving yourself. Nurturing yourself while you're going through, you know, unconscious blockages that you're discovering about yourself. You're finding out things about yourself. You want to really acknowledge your emotions. If you want to cry, cry, or be joyful or whatever. You want to work through all of your feelings. The moon energy, the mothering, nurturing energy, is there to back you up and help you through that. So it's important for him to balance out this chart with the moon. And the other one would be the Palana Devata. So this is vibrating on the higher self. This is the connection to your spirit guides, the celestial beings, the earthly gods. However you want to see it. That's how it's what it's connecting you with, and it's guiding your subconscious, how you intend your reality. And this is the planet Rahu. So he's got Rahu right there. Vibrating on the higher self. Bringing that deep occult kind of knowledge on the positive side of Rahu. It's really bringing deep knowledge within the person. It's bringing that desire for worldly fame, to connect with the world. He's got his Rahu over here in the ninth house of spirituality, philosophy, teaching, long distance travel, spiritual pilgrimages. So, Rahu is also, again, like Ketu, it's a planet of karma. So there's some karmic issues going on with spirituality. I'm sure in other lives he really abused that kind of energy. In this life, he's coming back because he has an obsession with spirituality, philosophy. That's what Rahu represents. He's still got caught up in the delusion of Rahu. It really made him go way negative. He started creating his own spirituality. Like I was saying in the other video, changing the swastika, trying to put a new meaning onto it. So but Rahu's really vibrating on that higher self. It's helping him to connect to gods. Celestial gods, his higher self, the universe. Rahu's just a very deep type of an occult energy. And it's also the trickster god, so it's really hard to stay on the positive. It's not impossible though. Wherever our Rahu and Ketu sit, this is where the biggest storm is going on within all of our charts. When we're obsessed with wherever our Rahu is, we're focused on our Rahu. We're all into, in his case, he's all into spirituality, teaching philosophy, spreading that knowledge to everybody in the Gemini. And then when that's not working for him in this life, he's getting too obsessed or getting tricked by the Rahu energy. When we get tricked by the Rahu, we usually retreat back to our Ketu. We go back into our Ketu because we're comfortable there. We mastered that house before. And in his case, his Ketu goes back over here to this house of communication, spreading knowledge with everybody. He's got his Jupiter there too, though, the spirituality, philosophy. You know what I mean? And he's got his Rahu over here in spirituality, philosophy. So no matter where he goes, he's still getting this emphasis on spirituality, philosophy, spreading it, communicating it. So he's really feeling a lot of frustration if he's really not, taking steps to really harmonize himself. That's just people that have that third and ninth house Rahu and Ketu. That's a pretty difficult area to be in. Also, since we're talking about the karma, we could look at his Saturn too. Saturn represents our karma as well, and it's in the 10th house of his reputation. How other people see him, and it's the house of work, hard work, going out and doing things. It's in the sign of Cancer, so it's really trying to emphasize, the emotional connection with people. The Cancer is the moon, which is his Dharma Devata. It's trying to point out to him, harmony. You got to have harmony. You want to enforce justice with Saturn, being in the 10th house, defending the homeland, being a politician. He was born to be a politician in this life. You can see that in his chart. But it's important for him to be a true politician, to really help people, make people realize that he really has an emotional connection to helping out the motherland, instead of getting carried away with how he was. It's very important. And for Libra ascendants, also Saturn is a Yoga Karaka planet, meaning that it rules one of the Kendra houses. and it also rules one of the Dharma trines. So in this case, Saturn rules the fourth house and the fifth house. So for Libra ascendant, Saturn is a very important planet. And Saturn's all about karma. It's all about justice, law, discipline, organization, and when Saturn gets into the sign of Libra too, it's exalted in that sign. So it's really, it's really happy to be in that sign. But it's always just emphasizing for Libra ascendants that Saturn, that karma is important for them. Abiding by the law, is going to help them stay balanced within their life, because Libras are all about being balanced. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be balanced in their life, but that's pretty much what their karma is in this life, is balancing out everything in their life. Everything being nice and steady. So the next thing I would do was give him the good luck pendant, and the good luck pendant is connected to your Dharma Devata, which is Moon, and he would wear it around your neck. It connects you to your Dharma Devata. Like in mine, this is my Dharma Devata is Mars, so I'm connected to that through this necklace here. I like this because it has the 8 directions around it too, and it's got the center, the Mars energy right there. So it would be a pearl or a moonstone that he would get to keep him connected to his Dharma Devata, keep that energy within him, keep the connection going, keep him even intellectually aware of it. And, it helps to empower your aura, especially when you're really working with that Dharma Devata. When you really start looking inside yourself, it really starts to empower your aura, helps to attract more beneficial, positive people in your life. And that's why it's called a good luck pendant. And his spiritual name, that would be connected to the nakshatra that your moon is in. The nakshatras are the constellations in the sky. There's 27 in Vedic astrology, and each of those 27 nakshatras are split into 4 different sections called padas. So in his case, his moon is in the nakshatra of Purva Shadha in pada 1, and that syllable is bu, bu, or ba, whatever. So when you choose to use that spiritual name, like when you're doing ritual, I use it like that. Rituals, you really you're connecting your mind to your nakshatra, so you're getting energized. You're vibrating on your highest self is starting to come through. The more you start to really believe that and use your imagination to feel that connection, that's when you really start to really feel it. It starts to really happen. It could start from the imagination. You notice the word magic is in imagination. Magic. Imagination. Once you start doing it, that's the way a lot of magic works. Is it starts with the imagination. You start visualizing these things, like Mahadeva talks about the whole breath, visualizing the energy coming down, and the snow and all that. You start doing that, and pretty soon that energy really starts to happen. It really starts to work for you. So that's using the spiritual name. Some people will legally change their name to the first syllable. Name their themselves that. In India, people do that. They see where their children's moon is in, what nakshatra their moon is in, and they give their child that name. So whenever they're calling them, they're empowering their highest spiritual mind within that child. So it's a really positive thing. In his case, it would be BU. Since he messed up in this life, I guess BU would be like butthead. Yeah. So that's it for the spiritual name. The projection to the world, the Aruda Lagna. So this is the important one too. This is how other people see you. You see yourself as the Libra ascendant. He sees himself as the Libra ascendant, as the Sagittarius moon, as the Aries sun. But other people will see you as the Aruda Lagna. And, that's something that we want to look at and, study it, become aware of it, learn what it is, what it really means, and you present yourself according to that Aruda Lagna. Like mine is the Taurus, and I got Venus and Saturn in the 11th house of Taurus. So you guys see me that way? It's supposed to be a balanced, creative, disciplined, organized kind of a person. So his projection to the world, his Aruda Lagna is the Cancer Cancer in the 10th house with Saturn getting aspected by Mars. So according to Mahadeva Thunder Wizard's new rules about the Aruda Lugna, like the 10th house is not necessarily Aruda Lugna. It's just more the universe is telling him to just to focus on your 10th house of fame, reputation, how other people see you as far as your reputation goes. It's a house of hard work, career, that kind of stuff. So the universe is telling him, people, you want to present yourself with this Cancer kind of energy, this caring, nurturing kind of energy, which is his moon is his Dharma Devata. Cancer is ruled by the moon. There's that emphasis, caring for other people. Cancer represents the fourth house, which represents the homeland, defending the homeland. Saturn is here as well, emphasizing law and order, justice. Perfect position for a politician. Saturn owns the fourth house as well, the homeland, things that bring you comfort in life. Being a politician could have made him a happy, really, really, truly happy, deep down inside kind of person. But, that wasn't happening. And what happened, and he's got the Mars here. Mars is just giving him that direct energy, giving him a lot of motivation, to go out and really be a defender of the homeland, but have that emotional, caring, nurturing kind of connection, showing the people, showing the citizens how much he cares. And, he really means what he says. This is not a BS politician. It's hard to find somebody who's not corrupt as a politician, right? But, and he's got major challenges in this chart. Check out the other video, the 12th house reading. But that's how the universe wants him to, what it wants him to do is to focus on that 10th house and that law and order, being a good politician who cares about the people, takes care of them in a positive way. So then we come over to his mantra, the mantra that I would give him. And I would give him the mantra that's connected to his Dharma Devata, which is the moon. Like I was saying before, it just seems like the right one to do is the Dharma Devata. As I was saying, he's got a very masculine kind of energy in his chart with all these planets right here aspecting his first house. It's very masculine, leadership quality, take charge, ability, tendency to overpower people, tendency to have that martial, general kind of energy, superior leadership quality going on. So I would give him the moon mantra, because it's more of a feminine energy. It's connecting him to the mother goddess. It's helping to balance him out. It's helping him to deal with his the anger, the fear, the anxiety, the blocked memories of childhood or whatever's going on in his chart, or for anybody who has the moon, has the Dharma Devata. I would give him that the mantra for Krishna, the deity Krishna. That's the one I would give him, and that one would be Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, which translates as I bow to the divine giver of life. That's the mantra I would give him, and I would let him know what Krishna's about. Krishna, when he was born in the mythology, he was already being looked at as like an almighty god, just this powerful energy going on with Krishna. And people are already projecting onto him that kind of energy, even though he was a god, yeah, but he's a human. He's born a human. So they're forgetting about that fact that he's a human as well. He's going to have human desires and all that. And there's a lot of even the gods look up to Krishna. They see him as a very powerful person, and let's see what's going on with him. In a lot of the mythology, he plays a flute. When he plays that flute, he's like hypnotizing people, hypnotizing women. A lot of women, and they're gathering around him and they're dancing, and they're really falling in love with him. They're totally devoted to him, but they're having that love, that ability that need to connect with him. And he does connect with all the women. He eventually connects with like 16,000 women. He's spending time with this woman and he's sleeping with her, and he's giving her all kinds of promises about what he's going to do, how he's going to take care of her and all that. He's a player. He has sex with him, tells him all these things he's gonna do for him, and then he disappears. He runs off and goes away, and he goes over to the next chick. And he does the same thing with her. Makes love to her, makes promises to her, goes to another one, does the same thing. And the whole lesson here is that he's really trying to open their eyes to the fact that they're being kind of like they're being emotionally immature. They're projecting onto him what they want or what they desire, the ideal man. They're not really seeing him for who he really is. He's a player, like I was saying. He's not really a loyal guy to them, and they still don't see this. They're still lost in this projection of who he is. Oh, he's just so wonderful. I need him back. I have this longing for him. It's that longing energy. They're caught up in the Maya, in the illusion. They're emotionally immature. They're not seeing things clearly. And doing the mantra to Krishna is going to help a person open up to the Maya, to the illusion. It's going to really tell them, it's going to help them. Don't take life too seriously. You know what I mean? Don't get too caught up in your unconscious. The moon is his Dharma Devata. Don't get caught up in all that. Don't project that onto the world. Don't take out your self-hatred onto everybody else. Don't take it out on a specific type of people, the Jews. I'm going to go murder everybody. I'm going to murder all of them. That's what he was doing. He wasn't really opening up to himself. He was projecting all of that self-hatred onto everybody else. So that's what doing the Krishna mantra is going to do for him. It would have helped open him up to the feminine, to the balance, masculine, feminine. You want to balance those energies. There's got to be harmony within us in this life in order to learn those lessons. And I know it's hard too. It's hard for me. That's for damn sure. But yeah, I would give him that. And, you got to emphasize, you got to buy a 108 bead mala, 108 bead mala. And you would do the 40-day ritual. You would chant the mantra 108 times with the mala. And the ritual that he would do, since his, where are we? Since his Saturn is in, oh, what am I doing? I'm talking about his moon. I'm getting confused here. The moon, his moon is in the sign of Sagittarius. That's I'm giving him the mantra to the moon. So he would be facing the northeast, which is the home of Jupiter. And, that's why his moon's in the sign of Sagittarius, so he'll be facing the northeast. And he would put a bouquet of flowers, or flowers. That's the offering that Krishna wants when he's in the sign of a Jupiter. So he would do that, face the northeast, have some flowers right there, do the mantra, get into a good state of mind, dim the lights, what have you, and really get into doing that mantra. Yellow flowers too would connect more to Jupiter. And that would be all for as far as the Thunder Astrology reading goes. Later on I'm going to do a video connecting the planets to the nakshatras that they're in, so we can get even a more deeper insight into Hitler's chart, so we could see what nakshatras the planets are and how they're even more affecting his whole chart. So that's it for that. Yeah. If anybody's interested in getting the Thunder Astrology readings, or a 12-house reading, or a 9-world rune reading, just go to greg.thunderwizard.com. And I hope you guys have a good one. Talk to you later. Peace.